We'll continue on with our press conferences. Next up, driver returning to the seat of the number 55 Aaron's 60th anniversary Dream Machine Toyota for Michael Waltrip Racing. Great to have him back, Brian Vickers. Brian, maybe start off with what it's like to be back and what do you expect out of your first weekend back in 2015?
Well, it's awesome. I think it's the best way to describe it. I'm really excited to be back. I guess I feel like we've had this press conference before. There's certainly times where I wasn't sure if I was ever going to be back, and and then you kind of deal with those emotions, and then all of a sudden you're back, and then you have to deal with those emotions, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it. I think, and to a large extent, I mean, a month ago, I was as curious as probably some of you were as to how I would feel, Friday morning. And, I can tell you I couldn't be happier. I'm just so, I was talking to someone on the way in, and, they asked kind of what, my emotions were going into this. And I kind of look at it like a win-win. I mean, if we go out there and do well, I mean, that's great. And even if we don't, I mean, just being able to get back in a race car again and go 200 is incredible. Like, so I mean, no matter what the outcome, I'm happy to be here and happy to be back in a car again and get a chance to do something I love. And but I'm an optimist. I think we're going to go out there and do well. And really proud of what this Aaron's Dream Machine team has done so far. This year with Michael and Brett and the gains we've made through the off season and the gains that Toyota's made through the off season, and hopefully that we can put it all together here this weekend in Vegas and come out here with a good finish.
Excellent. All right, we'll kick it off with questions. Start off with Jenna up here in the front. We'll go to Holly and Stan.
Jennifer AP, welcome back. You've been through this before, different ways. What is it like when you're away from here and away from the car? Has it been different each time, and does it make you miss racing or appreciate racing more?
Yeah, good question. The answer's yes, it does. It's tough being out of the car. I mean, when you're watching, like, it's a Saturday afternoon, you're watching the Xfinity race. It's a race you're not necessarily supposed to be in, and as a race fan, you just enjoy it. You just enjoy watching, a sport you love. But when it's a race in a car that you feel like you're supposed to be in with your name on the door, it's tough. It's really tough, and there's a lot of emotions, a lot of challenging emotions, kind of to deal with that. I've been at the track the last 2 weekends with the team, kind of supporting them and being on the box and being on the spotter span and being in the tower and just kind of moving around and trying to learn and just pick up little things that could be beneficial in the car. But I can tell you it's the last place I wanted to be. I was here. I was in Atlanta last weekend, for the team and to be a part of it and try to learn something. But I was really there for them because I didn't want to be there. Like, I just don't even want to watch it, But I think that having light at the end of the tunnel always kind of changes that. Like, knowing, okay, you're going to be back in the car in Vegas definitely helps that. Whereas if it was like this kind of outgoing question mark, it's probably even more difficult.
Holly, and then Stan.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. 2 questions, and welcome back. What is it like, the conversation with your doctors after this happens? Are you already kind of in mode of, okay, I have to get out of the car, I have to give it a break, I have to recover, but are you already thinking, okay, let's get the wheels going on this, when I can be back? And do your doctors kind of expect that out of you now? And secondly, on a very philosophic note, do you feel like your attitude is maybe a bit different from other people's because of what you had to go through medically, and the will and the perseverance and the optimism that you have to have, you really do, to make it and to keep going?
Going to the first question, both good questions. When I first, going into the surgery, it certainly was a question I asked several times throughout the process, right? Am I going to be able to race again? And early on, it was like, I think they were trying to set expectations. They were like, it's not looking good. And I mean, they didn't want to say no, but they were a far cry from yes. They needed to really kind of get into my heart, basically, which kind of sounds weird to say, and kind of figure out what's going on before they could really give me an answer. But they were kind of setting the bar pretty low, and so I kind of dealt with that. And then as they learn more, as they come out, they were like, okay, we definitively know what happened and why, and we fixed it, and we're not worried about it moving forward. So, we think you're good to go. But let's do a checkup in a month, and we'll see, kind of see how it goes. And but of course, I was asking them, can I go racing? It's something I love. It's something, over the last 10 years in my life, and particularly the last 5 years dealing with everything, I've learned that, my love for racing has only increased, my love for what I do and how much I appreciate it. But I've also learned that it's not who I am. It's something I do, and it's part of who I am. It's a very special part of who I am, and it's something that means the world to me, but it's not who I am. And it's not, if I can't race, that's okay. Like, life's going to go on. And I think from that perspective, yes, I ask the doctors, can I go race? And I want to go race. But if they say no, I'm not going to fight them. If they said, listen, we don't think it's safe, I'm not going to fight them on it. And so does that kind of answer, the first question? So kind of through that process, which was, listen, being back here at Vegas was, was their choice, not mine. I didn't push them into this. As a matter of fact, I sit there, and push them the other way. I'm like, are you sure? I think I can wait till Phoenix. I can wait till, I'm totally fine waiting longer if you want. And they're like, no, listen, you're totally good. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And I mean, I called him again this week. I'm like, are you sure you don't want me to come in for a checkup? Well, I'm like, I'm leaving tomorrow. Are you sure? And he's like, listen, he's like, the least concerned person in this whole conversation is me. If you want to come in tomorrow, by all means, you're welcome to come in and we can sit down and chat. But I'm just telling you, you're fine. And I was like, okay. So, so I, in the sense of did I want to go racing, and did I request that and tell them I wanted it? Yeah, of course, it's what I love. But I didn't push them into a decision. It was really their decision, and I was going to stick to that. The second question is my perspective, and I'm trying to think back to rephrase briefly one more time. It's okay. I think I got.
Your attitude, your perspective is a little bit different than
Yeah.
most of your competitors because
Yeah.
of what you've had to overcome
Yeah.
multiple times in your
Yeah, of course.
optimism and
So I think a perspective is anytime you have to fight for something, and anytime it's taken away from you. I mean, it's kind of like a kid with a toy, right? You take the toy away, they just want the toy more. I mean, how many times have you pulled a toy away from a kid? And we're just big kids, especially boys, right? We never grow up. And I see now a lot of females nodding. So you take their toy away, and they just want it even more. And I've had it taken away several times. So yes, I want it more. And I think I also have a deeper appreciation for it. I think when you get in a routine, you do something for 10 years or 15 years, 5 years, whatever it is, you just kind of wake up in the morning and you expect it. And then one day when you realize, and maybe several days you realize, that you can't just wake up and expect it. You got to fight for it, and you appreciate it more, and you love it more. But at the same time, I also I've tried to find balance in my life where, like I said earlier, it's not who I am. If it doesn't happen, my life's not over. There's still a lot of things, to be done, and challenges and opportunities, and so you just kind of keep going. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have time for two more. We'll go Stan and then wrap it up with Chris.
Over to your right, Stan Creekmore with CompetitionPlus.com, and you've kind of hit some of the factors of what I was going to ask you, but when you put your suit on in previous instances over the last couple of months, it's just been to talk to the media. Was there any difference, any greater feeling in your mind or your heart when you put your suit on this morning and you know that it's to go out there on that racetrack?
Absolutely. Another good question. I didn't even think about it until you just said that. But yeah, I definitely feel. I mean, the first 2 times I've put the suit on, it's been for photo shoots or commercials or media, and today it's to actually use it. And it felt a little better zipping it up today than it did the first 2 times, because it's here, it's real. And I can't wait to get in that car here in a few minutes.
Chris?
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Welcome back, Brian. You said at the media tour in Charlotte that you felt like that Brett Moffitt had a chance to win the race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He put himself in position to do that last weekend. But in your eyes, did he exceed everyone's expectations with that top 10 finish?
I can't speak to everyone's expectations. I would say for me, I think that Brett he's a good young man. He's a good driver. I've been working with him now for 2 or 3 years, kind of in a test team type capacity. I've seen his potential. So, he needs experience. I think that it took him a while to figure out. In the race kind of what he wanted and needed. And same for the team, and kind of get dialed in. And it's the first race of the season. It's the first mile and a half of the season. So, it took them a while to get to where they needed to be, but they got there. And that capacity, that capability, I think we all felt was there. So I don't know that he necessarily, exceeded or didn't succeed in his expectations. I mean, my expectation is that he would do well, and that's why, MWR wanted to give him that chance and put him in the car. I'd love to see him get, more experience and seat time. I think he's been a valuable asset to MWR. I think he could be unquestionably a contender, in any series. But like if he could get a ride in the Xfinity Series, Truck Series, and get some experience, and then get in the Cup. I mean, listen, he's done well, in the Cup Series, but I think that thinking back to my own personal experiences, I think. You just need seat time, right? And that's what he needs, and I'd love to see him get that shot. I mean, maybe it's in a Cup car. I mean, he's got an opportunity the next few weeks in a Cup car, and I think he'll do well. So I don't know. Does that answer your question? Yeah. I mean, I think I think a lot of him, but he just needs experience. He just needs time, and I want to see him get that chance.
All right. Thanks a lot, Brian. Good luck. Great to have you back.
Yeah. Thank you.